Hi, everybody. I'm so excited to be here with Rasmus and his beautiful daughter, Matilda. So if you followed along on the Standing Light podcast, this is a part 2, in a sense, a show and tell. And so we're really excited to have you here, Rasmus, and for you to be sharing your incredible technology with us. Do you want to just briefly share what you're going to be showing us?
Okay, yes, hello to everybody. Yes, we have had a nice conversation already, Leyla and I. I tried to sum it a little bit up what I'm doing. So very brief, I run a laboratory here in Austria, which is the continuation of the laboratory which I opened with Dr. Emoto 2004. So it's since many years already, soon 20 years, 18 years now. And well, do all kinds of water testing. But out of this, I developed a technology which is already spread in 28 countries. It's a technology which translates the frequency of the heart into sound and light. I tried in the conversation before with Leyla a little bit to talk about the philosophy and a little bit about the technique. I'd like to sum it up here a little bit for all of you. I share my screen. I hope I can do so. Let's see. I'd just like to go to a presentation. Oh, no, I can take the whole, sorry. Let's see if this goes. Okay, you see my screen now, I hope?
Perfect.
Okay, wonderful. I don't go to all the details. I hope it's big enough. Maybe we can make this bigger here. No, it's good. And zoom a little bit in, that's easier. Okay, I hope everybody can see this wonderfully. Yeah, this is Dr. Emoto for the people who don't know him. He was like a father to me. I traveled with him more than 10 years all around the world. I got stuck in Russia, went many times to Russia, about 40 times. I worked in his laboratory around 22 years ago, the first time, 21 years ago. And then 2004, I opened his laboratory. The most important thing for me was out of his findings, this is the famous book, which is translated into 47 languages. The most important thing for me was to see that water reacts from influences from outside, inside. And the most easiest experiments I conducted was with sound. So I took 2 water samples or 1 water sample and placed sound to it. And then, for example, this is just an example. You see here Mozart music without, so water sample frozen without Mozart. And when you play Mozart, we can see that the structure becomes more harmonically. These are just many samples. But I've been talking about Emoto long during the lecture. Let's go to the main work I'm doing today. I tried to explain, Leyla, the principle. The principle is actually resonance. It's very simple. You take a tuning fork, and if you hit one tuning fork and the second tuning fork has the same vibration, what happens? The second one, not being touched, starts to vibrate by itself. So this is a resonance. You can say one vibration doubling itself by resonance. If you have a third tuning fork which has not this vibration, it doesn't react at all. It just stays calm. If you have the same vibration, just 1 octave higher, like you have 2 tuning forks, let's say this is the sound do, like do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, do. You hit it, the second tuning fork also being tuned to do starts to vibrate by itself. The third tuning fork, also being do, just 1 octave higher, like on the piano, next do, it reacts also by itself. That's a thing we can very easy experience by ourselves. I can see if I can share this here. 1 second. Go a little bit down here. I hope you see it big now. You see the big screen, Leyla?
Yes. Yes.
Wonderful. So you see this is a vibration. Let's say this is 1 string, the piano string, and it vibrates, let's say, like in this sample, 256 times. And we would hear the sound do. Now, if I divide the string by 2 and press the finger exactly in the middle, the half of the string would vibrate twice as fast, would vibrate 512 times, and it would be the first octave, do, the next do. And if I've divided again by 2, this little string, and take now 1/4 of the first string, I would hear the next octave. So as you said by yourself, beautiful during our talk before, it's the symbol of infinity. Yes, the symbol of infinity comes out from music. People saw that you can transfer information from one range to another. That's what the Pythagorean did 2,500 years ago. Okay, and now if you take a string, you take a piano, for everybody listening to this, try it by yourself. It's such a beautiful, how to say, experience. To understand in German means begreifen. Begreifen means to touch. Touching and understanding is one and the same word in German. Very interesting, no? So you can touch it to understand it. So you take the piano, you hit the door, you open the lid, press the pedals that all the strings are free. And then you go with the fingernails over all the strings. And then when you reach the next door, it vibrates by itself. You haven't touched it. And you reach the next door, it vibrates by itself. That's the law of resonance. So similarities vibrate the strongest. Yes, so do, the next do, they vibrate the strongest with each other. Okay, so now we can take this and we can do this until infinity because the information stays the same. I always say if I see a picture of my grandmother, of my friend, whoever, very small, at least I have to recognize the person, of course. And then I see the same picture huge, I get the same information. Yes, I don't, if I read the letter A small, the letter huge painted on the wall, I don't read more A or B or C or whatever. It's the same information. So we can make octavation of vibration, okay? And keep remain the same vibration. Now we can go to infinity. So we hit one door, the next door, the next door, the next door, they all vibrate by itself. That's the principle. Okay. Now, for example, our Earth, the Schumann frequency, yes, is set between 8 and 12, 8 and 14 hertz. That's the first level of the Schumann frequency. Now, the interesting thing is, if you make a fist and you are angry or you're freezing because it's so cold, we are vibrating between 8 and 12, 8 and 14 hertz. That's our range. So if I would take here a little needle and measure the vibration, it would go up and down between 8 and 14 times a second. Now, the interesting thing is Mother Earth is vibrating and the muscle cells are reacting. You can cut out the muscle cells, put them on a petri dish, take them under the microscope. There is no heart beating anymore, but the muscle cells, until they, at least if they have enough nutrition, they keep on, how to say, beating.
Vibrating.
So it's like Mother Earth is one tuning fork and the, how to say, the muscle cells are reacting. Maybe I'm completely wrong here. At least this is my understanding.
Yes.
And now scientists found out, I said before, there were two very interesting for the people listening to this. Google this, guys. One is a wonderful professor in United States. It's Gerald Pollack. He wrote a book. It's called The Fourth Phase of Water. And another wonderful doctor, a professor from the Moscow University, I met several times in Russia, is Dr. Vladimir Wykov. And what do they say? They say if you have a cell, it's full of water, the water molecules make billions of connections a second because of the dipole character, H2O, two different charges, they connect. But the connections are very weak. They always connect a million times in the speed of light all the time. But now it's like this is a cell. We can have the cell here on the screen. Now the vibration comes from outside. The water molecules, which are close to the membranes, they can get coherent. And they are changing the pH. They suddenly get a surplus of electrons. And in the center, we have a lack of electrons. And that means we have two different electrons, two different pH levels. And from the outside to the center, the electron starts to move. So we get from vibration outside, we get coherent water close to the membrane, and then we get literally electricity. So if we are coherent with our partner, with our children, with our nature, if we dance with each other, if we hug each other, if we come to the present state, we get the best coherent to Mother Earth, and we start to heal, we energize ourselves. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mm-hmm. In German, we say, I'm sour. Sour means acid, means lack of electrons in a chemical term. Okay, good. So we can see vibration changes us, changes literally our pH. And if we have a lot of energy, we have a lot of electrons, and we are not acid anymore. Okay, Acid means, okay, just very simple. So coherence is very, very, for me, the most important thing in nature is that one vibration interacts with another one. That's the most important thing, causing even change in chemistry, because from somewhere we need an electricity. Now this principle of resonance we use, so we have a tuning fork, you hit it, let's say La or Do, doesn't matter, and all the octaves vibrate by itself. Now we have our heart, and we measure the sympathetic and the parasympathetic range between 0 and 0.4 hertz. That's out of medicine. I didn't develop this. This is knowledge from medicine. So this is, let's say, the tuning fork down here. Our heart is one tuning fork. And now I take Do, Re, Mi, Fa, Sol, La from the piano. And now I take, for example, 0.4 hertz, and I start to double 0.4, 0.8, 1.6, I explained before, until we reach the audio range. And then my heart sends the vibration, and one note will say, hey, I'm just the same. I'm just the smaller A. You emitted the big A, and I go to the smaller A. Okay? Resonance. Very simple. It's physics. It's not magic. It's not. And then we go further, and then we double until we reach trillion hertz. We divide it by the speed of light, then we get the wavelength, and then we see, hey, the sound La is yellow-orange. If we translate this, the sound Do, it would be green. If you translate Re, Do, Re, it would be light blue. So every color, in German and in English, we say sound color. You know the expression? Mm-hmm. So sound color, why is this strange expression? This is literally because sound and color is like brothers and sisters. They can send the same information. Just one is the electromagnetic field coming into us, the light, the visible light. We could also translate it into the ultrasound or the X-ray or, I don't know, whatever wave. But the two vibration ranges which touch us humans the most is between 20 and 20,000 hertz. That's where we communicate. If we go above 20,000 hertz, we come to the ultrasound range, like the bats are communicating. I cannot communicate with you, Leyla, in 40,000 hertz. I'm sorry, it's not possible. Okay, if we would put two bats, maybe we would communicate there. Okay, okay. So this is the range we communicate the best, and the other range is the light, the visible light. We communicate the most. Other maybe beings maybe communicate in other light ranges. That's this planet where we reacted. Okay, and if we take the number 1, I explained before, 1, why are the plants green or appear green? Because that's where life started, not? It started by green. The planet became green. Of course, blue planet, the water, but green means the first living was first the plants. They have been green. Okay, and the first chakra, what is it? It's green. It's the heart chakra. So if I take the number 1, say this is a string, it vibrates 1 time. I make half, it vibrates 2 times, 4, 8, 16, 32, 64, 128, 260, 256, and I would hear the sound Do, the natural Do. And if I continue 256, 512, 1024, until trillion hertz divided by the speed of light, I get the color green. So 1 is green. The first chakra is green. The first chakra is the heart, not the root chakra down there. That's a wrong translation. At least I think so.
I agree.
Okay. Well, I don't know if I should explain this also. This is the secret of the 5th. You know, in English, we say quintessence. What does quintessence mean? It means the most important thing from something. No, that's a quintessence. Why we don't, I would say so, no? Why we don't say the octave essence or the 4th essence or I don't know, whatever. We say the quint. The 5th is an interval. Do, re, mi, fa, so, do, so. Now the interesting thing is that all music therapists around the world, all, the shaman in South America, the yogi with his sitar in India, Mozart ending in the 5th, the shakuhachi player in Japan playing mainly with the 5th. The 5th interval is like a magic interval for us. How do we get the 5th interval? Mathematically, very simple. We start again by 1 string, Do, and now we divide the string by 3 parts, not half, by 3 parts. Yes, 1, 2, 3, and we put the finger here where the red dot is. You see this?
Yes.
Yes. And now I let 2/3 vibrate. Then I get the 5th. That's every music, everybody who knows about harmonics knows about this. This is mathematics, very simple. So if 2/3 are vibrating based on the first string, I hear the do. The do, I hear do, re, mi, fa, so. I hear the interval of the 5th. Now we humans, we are 2/3 water, no? Mainly. And how many fingers do we have? We have 5. So the interval we react the most is the 5th interval, because water is vibration. Water is the substance which vibrates the most in our body. Water is the source of life. Water can change the pH by vibration, causing electricity to move, creating life. Water is the source of life. Every life starts in water. The dinosaur, the bacteria, the virus, we need water. With no water, no life. Finish. That's how it is. Just how it is. Okay. So water creates electricity based on coherence to vibration from outside, changing the pH. That's amazing. And we are 2/3 water. In homeopathy, the strongest vibration, the strongest homeopathic remedy, many homeopaths told me, is the LM potency, is the 1 to 5, 1 to 50,000. Very interesting. I don't have time now to go maybe into detail. I'd love to explain this, but let's jump further. But this is the basic of the calculation. So I take 5th intervals, 1, 3, 9, 27. These are the 5th intervals. And I go to the octaves, 1, 2, 4, 8, and so on. These are the octaves. So I get to the sounds. You see here, do, la, all these different sounds. This is just German writing. Okay, the sound. Instead of do, it's si. And if I continue this, 1, so you see here do, 1 in the top, 2, 4, 8, 16, and so on and so on. We come to trillion hertz. Now we are in trillion hertz. And now we divide it by the speed of light, and we see the number 1 is green. Do is green. Okay, that's mathematics, just for people interested in that field. Okay, let's jump further. So when we play piano, actually sound color, there is also a color, you could say, which has the same language. Okay, so the chakras, of course, now we say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I think it's wrong. The first chakra is the heart, but the colors are right. That's the number, but it doesn't matter. But at least it's very, very, very interesting that the Indians knew about this. I think during translation, and I have a friend, he is very much into all this Vedic knowledge. He a very nice friend, and he said me in old Vedic scripts, the first chakra is the heart. He told me so. I didn't study Vedic literature. I have no idea. But it's just interesting that it's confirmed. Okay, so jump further. Now we go to us humans. We humans, we have something, it's called heart rate variability. Heart rate variability means we have not 2 heartbeats which are the same. They're always changing. The center of life, I would say, is our heart. No? We need our heart. That's our center. And the most beautiful description for me for liveliness is change in movement. Like if you go to a healthy forest, I explained before, you have not 2 trees which are the same. A huge, a small, a big, a wide, a old, a young tree. This is a healthy forest. If you go to a bad forest, it's this typical agricultural forest we produce nowadays, where all the trees are the same. There comes one disease and they all die. There comes one hurricane, they all die. That's the similarity, the same in the universe is death. We see it in military. If we all walk exactly the same, we can bring people to kill each other. If they would dance to Vivaldi, they would throw their stupid guns and they would not do it. So if we put similarities, this destroys our world. And the same is also the heartbeat. The more variable our heartbeats are, the healthier we are. The more similar they become, the more symptoms appear. There are more than 50,000 studies nowadays related to heart rate variability. So we know the bigger the variability, one heartbeat to the next, to the third, the better you can adapt to stress, the better you can take up medicine, the better you can heal yourself, the older you get, you can say, the less symptoms you have. We have today a society which defines about 45,000 diseases. 45,000 diseases, but we have one health. Okay. And I try to focus on the health. Of course, we need this, all the symptoms, and it's all wonderful medicine. I don't want to say, but I say the heart variability beautifully represents your health, how alive you are. You can say it like a plant, an old plant, the storm comes, it will break. A young plant will maybe be hit back and forward, lay down to the ground, storm is over, it stands up again. The same you can say with the heart. The more variable, the better. And now the interesting thing is there are many, many influences on the variability. We don't have to go into this. But one of the main influence for me is the breathing, is the physical activity, the mind, and nutrition. I will now go into the mind, because for me, the mind, of course, everybody knows, be active, drink a lot of water, eat good food, good breathing is important. I think most people know. But the interesting thing is that the mind, I think, is actually the cause of, let's say, diseases, probably the highest, if you're not hit by, I don't know, something, or break your leg or something like this, but or stop eating or whatever. But so the mind, and now we can see the mind is, for me, like the eyes, a focus organ. I focus on you, yes, or I focus on a thought. I cannot have two thoughts at the same time. I cannot say 2 + 2 is 4, and tonight, I don't know, I go dancing. I can do one thing after this, but I cannot have two thoughts at the same time. Nobody can do this. So our mind and our eyes are excluder. This is why we are so superficial in our world. We are focusing all the time. It's so limited, you can say. Of course, our eyes are amazing. Our brain is amazing. But for me, the brain is an excluder. Okay. And we say in English and German, bring it to the point, to our children. I have to learn with my daughter later. I say to her, bring it to the point. Focus, focus, focus. Of course, for the school, we have to focus. But the problem is we focus too much in our society. Always, how to say, always news, so much brain activity. And how can we stop brain activity? The most easiest way is to start using our senses and stop commenting. Because the moment we use our senses, feeling, listening, seeing, without commenting, tasting, we come to a present state. When you 100% listen, 100% feel, you don't think. Later you maybe think, okay, this was touch of my neighbor, this was the smell of whatever, the kitchen, whatever. But the moment we use the senses, it's quiet. And the moment the variability becomes bigger again. And what I said before in our talk before, that there are societies where we don't have heart attacks. And in our society, it's cause of death number 1. So by our constantly operating brain, we literally, how to say, create problems like burnout, sleeping disorder. We've been talking about dreams before. Okay. So the heart and the ear for me is an includer. You can close your ears, but you would still hear something. So the heart will always, how to say, include the surrounding. The brain also excludes. We talked before about condition. If you would be, I don't know, a Muslim or a Christ or a Buddhist, you would start to exclude or include because you're different, how to say, conditioned. But the heart doesn't. The heart is a big electromagnetic field wanting to communicate with all other fields. Okay, so yeah, this is just, we've been talking about this. So the principle, what I'm doing is I take the variability now from my daughter next to me, and I translate it into sound, as explained, try to explain now in the fast mode, and I translate it into light. And because she's not a robot, she will play differently. And now I can, how to say, this is mathematically not correct, because mathematically we take the frequency ranges and divide it. This is just the how to say, the biosignal we can measure here, but just it's easier to understand like this. We separate the frequencies, and we can say she can play several instruments. Yes, because let's say the P wave here would, of course, how to say, be different the first time to the second time. So she can play several instruments. And now I can go further and say, I divide it. I take I divide it into 4 different instruments. And now I can say, I connect you two, and I say, you will play these 2 instruments and the other person will play these 2 instruments. So I tried to divide the cake into 4 pieces, take 2 pieces of one person and 2 pieces of the other person to make a new whole cake. Like we explained before, we are one. I'm you. The most beautiful thing I learned from Babaji, maybe you heard about Babaji from India, he said, love is that I am you. That's the most beautiful expression of love. Not love because you're beautiful, you're young, you're rich, I don't know, whatever nonsense, you make me happy, or I don't know. Real love is that I'm you. When you have a child the first time in your hand, you encounter a love you never have had before. That's amazing, because you see, you could call it the better you in your hands. Yes. So it's very interesting to say, that's a very nice expression. So let's go back to physics. So I take 2 vibrations of you, 2 vibrations of the other person, and then they have to get coherent. Yes, because I throw them both in the oceans of their vibration. If you dance with your friend, your partner, your husband, you have to get coherent. Otherwise, you are maybe, I don't know, fighting, or I don't know. But there are 2 vibrations, and the third one is the external one, the sound, whatever. Or you listen to your hearts and you just dance because you're happy. That's all fine. You get coherent. Okay, this is the thing. So now I jump out here. I stop this here. I have to share my screen differently. How can I share my entire desk? It's the whiteboard, probably. I think so. Yeah, let's try. Okay. Now you see my entire screen, is that right?
Yes.
Yes, you see my entire screen.
Yes.
Okay, wonderful. You see everything. Or do you see just my whiteboard?
It's just white.
No, I think, 1 second, I do it wrong. 1 second. Where can I share my entire screen? Keynote, whiteboard. Oh, desktop, it's just the very first. That's so simple. Okay, sorry, now you see my entire desktop, I hope. Okay.
Yes. Yes.
It's wonderful. Okay, so you see the whole mess on my board here. Great. Now I take the software here. To explain short, for the audience here, I have here just a tool where I have electrodes, inlet. I connected my daughter here with electrodes on the chest, like in an AKG. Okay. And now I go here inside, I write Matilda, and I choose, let's say, the harps. I say start. And the very first thing, let's see if it works perfectly. It works perfectly. Now we see here her heartbeats. You see this? Dot, dot. These are all the variability. If she would be a robot, it would be always the same. But she's variable. Yes. And now it's very concentrated because she's very much in her head. She's listening to what I'm saying. So the dots are very closed. And I cannot say, dear Matilda, open your heart. She will stay in her heart, in her head, because I cannot say to you, dear Leyla, don't think of an elephant. Don't think of an elephant, Leyla, don't think. You would start thinking of this elephant because the word don't does not exist in the universe. That's another philosophy, but let's stop this. Okay, but the moment she would start to listen, aufhören, same meaning, ending, her heart variability will get bigger and bigger and bigger. And 50,000 studies on the market say the bigger your variability, the better you heal yourself. The better you take up any remedy. The better maybe, whatever, yes, the healing, whatever the healing is. Okay, here we can live see sympathetic, parasympathetic, stress level. This is all medical. We don't have to go into this. But I can really to the audience, this is your own responsibility, also mine. I have 5 kids. I work by far too much. We can see if you don't take care of yourself, too much worries, the variability becomes less and less. The moment you become present, the moment you treat yourself good nutrition, good sport, all different influences, you can see how it increases. And I see that the brain for me is the biggest influence. At least the most neglected one, let's call it like this. Because everything is, if you don't breathe, if you don't eat, you don't make exercise, everything is important. Okay, so now we have here behind a light. I hope you see it here.
I've
You
been
see the
noticing
lamp
it.
just next to
Yes.
her? It's maybe too bright here. I have to make it turn some off here. Maybe you can do so. This here off, and this here off. Okay, I don't know if it gets better, but because it's now bright daylight. But you see, it shines blue. So she just played a re. If it's green, she plays a do. If it's now, she plays a la. So her heart is translated into light.
Wow.
Yes. And I have a water pitcher on it. So it's actually, this is a nice thing. It's a LED lamp free of pulsation. I developed with a partner, tuned in 432 hertz, of course. So you can drink the water you have influenced by your heart light.
Wow.
Because we see that light influences the water amazingly. We can do an extra, how to say, interview if you want about light and water. It's amazing. Light and water, it's amazing.
We will do that.
Okay. Okay. But I just want to say, my understanding is there is nothing better in the whole universe than this person next to me, whoever it is, because she's unique and she's alive. She's always changing. I could, of course, put now something from outside on her, say, listen to Mozart, Vivaldi, whatever, which is beautiful. And I recommend everybody listen to good music because it influences you beautiful. Stop listening to techno music because techno music kills you, literally. It's always the same computer beat. Throw it out of your life. All the new music made by a computer, this is nonsense. You need a musician who is playing the drum itself, not a robot. This is music. The thing we listen today is trash. It's really trash because the similar beat, always the same, is death. If you have Pink Floyd or ever, any music from, you had a musician making the drum, and they are not exactly the same because every musician has this offbeat, this slight variation. Anyways, so technical music is heart attack music. And the stronger the beat, we know, you can Google techno music and heart attack. You will find reports in the internet where young people got a heart attack during a rave concert. Yes. So anyways, I always say techno music is not bad, it just kills you. Okay. So variation, as I said before, is life. That we have a forest with all different kinds of plants, different sizes. The same with our heart. Matilda has a very huge heart rate variability. Beautiful. Yes. And she can encounter herself in light. And now I can let her play sound. So now she plays the harp. These are, of course, real harps recorded before, but her heart are picking the notes.
Incredible. Wow.
Okay, and now I just play something else. And here you can connect two people. I don't have connect two people, but I can connect you and my daughter or anyone together. And 1 second. And 1 second. I show you, for example, other sounds. Very beautiful. I love, for example, overtones. Or let's take the heart drums, like a native Indian playing, you know, when they make a sun dance.
Yes.
They make, you know, this powwow, bum, 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 bum.
Yes.
What does a native Indian play? He doesn't has a Bluetooth machine, I don't know, sending the sounds. He's listening to his heart, connecting to the sun, for example. And this is the heartbeat of my daughter. We just emphasized the first note, like bum, 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 bum. But she's playing it. Okay, it's her sound. And now, for example, I can let her play overtones. Maybe you know overtone singing, which is very common in Mongolia or different. And the funny thing is, if you work with this a while, you become the conductor of the heart of the people next to you. So she is the orchestra, she's playing. But you know, the best paid guy or the most important guy in an orchestra is the conductor. In Russia, they made a study, they told me, they tried to find out how long does an orchestra need to play beautiful harmonically together with a conductor or without a conductor. And they said, somebody said it takes up to 20 times longer until this. So the conductor is very, very important. So you as a therapist or the person working with this, you start to listen and you start to emphasize. Emoto called it the goosebump effect. The moment really it touches me how she plays. I can literally see how the heart opens. Now she has a beautiful big variability, but even now she's thinking quite a lot. You think they're very narrow. And I can, as I said before, I cannot say, Matilda, open your heart. She will think of the elephant. She will think of what I told her. So she can't stop thinking by the order, stop thinking. And imagine you have a heavy disease. The doctor tells you, you have 2 weeks left.
Right.
Get whatever, have nice 2 weeks. You will go so strong into your brain. And the more you're in the brain, the more your heart will close. So he will be right if he tells you have 2 weeks left. But if he would embrace you, giving you energy, will tell you, well, you did a great job. See, your body made, let's say, this tumor. And we will now be found out. Your body was really waving and said, you have to change something. This trash bin is full. We have to change something in your life. Yes? Don't, how to say thank you that I found out about this. Completely different thinking. Not your body tries to kill you or whatever. It's really like a gift. And then, of course, you have to solve the problem. But if you're like this, if somebody beats you with a stick, what you do, you try to make the smallest surface. You will make you very small. The same your heart does. But the moment you let go, it will open. And you cannot let go by the brain, because the brain always is chewing. The brain makes an emotion. The emotion feels the brain gives the emotion. It's a ping pong game. And for me, the heart is like the net between the ping pong game to stop this, to become present, come to the present state. She can play anything. And that's the beauty. When I later see how her variation gets more balanced, her heart opens. We record, of course, everything automatically. So everything she's playing, I can give her home so she can listen to this again. Now, for example, she's playing violin and viola. And I have to work very gently. Now she plays just one instrument. I give her a second. And now she's playing beautiful already. But the beauty is when she lets go, now for her, you see the heart is not that open yet because she's in her mind still. Daddy is talking, somebody's watching. You know, it's difficult. And on stage, everybody is stressed. But if she would lay here completely relaxed, everything doesn't matter anymore. Doesn't matter. We had this saying before. She will open right away. And that's beautiful. You know, and this is... and the beauty is you can connect with somebody else and it's so much fun.
Wow.
And yeah, and as I said, we connected a mother. I didn't do it as a therapist, did it, mother with the daughter in coma, playing together. After 3 days, the kid woke up. We had now, I just came back from Rome. I have a wonderful doctor there, Dr. Benini. She connected ladies during labor when the womb was 4 centimeters open. They sorry, they pressed play, and 1/3 of the women, you know, in the opening phase, painful, all this, they fell asleep, and the pain went down by 70%. Because it's quite a difference. Well, I joined, of course, several births, but I'm a guy, I don't. But I could imagine if you're like this or if you're like this.
Yes, exactly.
I think it's much harder to squeeze a kid out when you are fear, but fear is thought. Fear is out of presence. Fear is, of course, based on experience. But if you're 100% in present, it's, of course, I can easily talk because I'm a guy, but I can just say the nice results they got. Okay. And this is pure. I told before, we had a lady in wake coma after 20 minutes. She was following her sounds by humming the sounds she was playing in wake coma. I thought it must be a joke. It's impossible. She's not in wake coma, but she was in wake coma. So it was just like, it's amazing. Wow. So this is what we do. Yeah, it's beautiful. This is a guy, he had several heart attacks. The moment he let go, the variability opens again. So the heart, it's like if somebody beats you, you're like this. But you cannot cure yourself like this. You have to open again, open all your antennas to get in resonance with nature. But if you're like this, stuck in fear, stuck in all this, it doesn't work. Being out of presence, I think, Eckhart Tolle wrote 3 beautiful books about presence, you know. I can recommend everybody to read it, or read Krishnamurti. I think our brain is an amazing tool. I love, of course, thinking. I love to develop things. I love to communicate, and I tell all this. But at the end of the day, we literally say, we have to see there's a higher intelligence, and which cannot be administered by the brain. Yeah. As simple as that. Okay, so this is how it works. Now we can jump over this. This is just a wonderful guy from Holland, a Dutch guy, 400 years ago or 300 years ago. He explained mathematically as the first scientist what entrainment is. So you have several watches on the wall with this pendulum, and they started to interact. And he was the first one to describe this mathematically. And you can see this. Here's a video. This is from YouTube, but it's very nice. You can see this. I hope you can hear this. You can see this? Yes. You can, entrainment, metronomes, you find a lot of videos, but you can see these are like 5 hearts, like 5 people having their point of view. But if these 5 people would start to dance, to sing, to listen to each other's heart, or however, getting rid of their rigidity, this is just by placing these 4 metronomes on these 2 cans, these 5 metronomes, you can literally see what happens very fast. So this is what I think vibration wants to do. Yes. It always wants to communicate. And there's, I think, where magic can happen. Because what is every mother around the world doing when the child is sick? Does she put the child on her brain? Exactly. She's not putting it on her right shoulder. This she does if it got a lot of milk, you know, to make a burp, to get, I don't know, the air out of the stomach. But if the child is sick, what is the mother doing? She places the child on her heart. And what is the second thing every mother is doing? She starts to hum. Yes? Maybe sings a song, but literally she's humming. So she tries to put the heart, and by the sound, comfort, and bringing the present and herself, of course, bring the child into the very moment of liveliness. And the beauty is the English word presence, and a present. I give you a present. It's the same root. So the presence and the present is the same. It's amazing. No, so it's very beautiful where things come from. And this is here the same settings like we've been listening with from Matilda, the same instruments, just two are playing the mom, two is playing the child during nursing. And you can hear, I have played this so many times, but this is always touching for me, how the two are playing. You can hear it. And back to Emoto, I can make wonderful crystals out of the song. That's wonderful. So we can hear it. Of course, they are not the same because the same does not exist.
Right.
That's stupid.
Right.
But they are also not synchron because synchronicity doesn't also not exist because that would be the same. But there is something which is called entrainment. You are a person yourself and your friend is a person, you dance, you're both vibration, but you interact, you communicate, you send vibration all the time and harmonics develop. And this is you can say, it's just, it's beautiful. And yeah, this is, I just have to go further. Yeah, this is just not so important stuff. And this was the maternity ward. This is from Rome. This is a big cancer clinic. This is in heart surgery. They make studies. That's just a guy after heart surgery. During the surgery, he was listening to his heart, completely crazy. Wow. This is a big psychiatric clinic here in Switzerland. They have 4 departments working with this already. This is a luxury spa in Austria. You can, instead of getting Botox and silicone, you can also listen to the beauty of your heart. Nice. Both is more maybe beautiful from inside and outside, and whatever. I try to do the inside work here. This is beautiful. This is a horse connected. I just did this in Switzerland. This is the heart rate variability of a horse. And also a horse starts to think. I don't know what the horse is thinking, but you can see the moment the horse goes in focus, the variability becomes smaller. Wow. But the horse is much better than us humans to be in a present state. Every animal is that, if they're not sick by us humans. And you can hear this is the owner connected with the horse. Wow. It's of course not such a professional recording because we did it next to 10,000 chicken outside of in a farm. But even though next to this so many noiseful chickens, the horse and the owner was very nice how they could experience themselves. This is another fun example. This is a 3-month-old dog with a therapist sent me, both connected, the owner and the dog. And after a few minutes, they were both snoring on this cold tile floor. So it's beautiful. And the dog doesn't understand anything I'm talking about, I think so at least. But it reacts on the sound of the owner. So it's very nice. So you can use it very beautifully. Yeah, well, that's all. That's if people are interested, Aqua Quinta, you can find it. And yes, so yeah, this is the work. If I don't know if this is 20 or 15 minutes, but this is what I'm doing. Amazing. Yes, so incredible. So. Thank you so much, Rasmus. Really. I mean, this is so fascinating to me, and I'm sure to everyone that's tuning in. I'm so grateful, and I definitely want to come to you and experience it myself and apply the technology as well in my own practice. I think that would be amazing. So I'll just thank you so much, Matilda. You're fortunate you're in. Yes, you're fortunate you're in Zurich. There are, I think, 3 therapists working with it. Okay. So there you can Google it and find them. There's a nice doctor working with this. There's one guy, he makes hypnosis with this. So it's beautiful. There's one lady at the lake in Zug Lake, I think it's called. She makes only couple therapy. There's a very nice nurse also in Zug working with it. So, and the beauty is that people So I teach this, of course. I don't give the therapy myself anymore because I don't have time. It's just, it's too much. I have to train every week already. And I train always individually if somebody wants to learn this and wants to operate this and works with this. But I don't do the treatments anymore because I feel myself more in the training and in the developing part. That's more where I feel home. Because if somebody comes for treatment, the people don't want to leave. Then I have them 4 hours here, and they want to get everything explained. And I said, go to a therapist, because I'm not a therapist myself. I don't know, it's too, for me, too emotional or too, how to say, I'm not the therapist. I'm more the guy who develops this kind of stuff. So, but of course, you're very welcome to come to my place, Leyla, and I show you. But I say, if somebody really has problems, I always ask, where is the field you have problems? And then I have already a lot of great therapists working with this. So this is, it's very nice. Now it's, as I said, in 28 countries. Some countries there is just one device, but here in Germany, Switzerland, Austria, there are several, and in the States, there are quite a lot already, and it's growing very nice.
So hopefully everywhere very soon.
Yeah, some places are strange, like Great Britain is only one since 10 years. It doesn't want maybe the Brexit closing. Yeah, I'm just kidding. But it's funny that I don't know what happens in Britain. I can't.
Okay, if anybody's tuning in from Britain, reach out to Rasmus.
I have one wonderful lady in Glasgow working with it, but that's quite funny. It's Britain is it's not yet. It's a shame because I have so many people asking from Britain, and it's difficult for them to come over. So I need therapists, especially in Britain, I think, to get it going there, because it's a shame.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, wonderful. So,
well, amazing.
So that's what I'm doing.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Rasmus. And thank you, Matilda, for being a beautiful musician for us, playing such beautiful music. And
Yes.
yeah, if anybody wants to get in touch, we'll put the details in the description, in the bio. And thank you again, truly.
Okay, Leyla, I say thank you. We stay in touch. Big hug to you.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.